Shalom, shalom. I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles, the elders, and the hopeful elect for pushing this truth in sincerity, and say shalom to the few brothers and to the brothers and few sisters that may be tuning in here. So today I'm going to just touch on the fact that our spiritual, our warfare here is spiritual. It's not carnal, right? And it's nothing vain like these false prophets push, and things relating to that as well. Again, like these false prophets always talking about, again, the mark of the beast is a white woman, or pushing lies, saying that Yahweh's name is not important. They're not keeping you up with the signs of the times like the actual prophets are doing, right? So I'm just going to dive right into it, starting at 2 Corinthians 10 and 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh, right? We don't do as the people do in the world, right? We're not drinking and partying every single day. We're not out here doing the foolishness of these people, partaking in the distractions that are always going on. Like Christmas, for example, I did a video about that as well, but people partake, they're always looking forward to the next holiday. That's their distractions are always looking forward to it. That's why these so-called holidays became such big days. They turn it into merchandise days. But you have to buy gifts for Valentine's Day. You have to buy gifts for Christmas. You have to buy gifts for things. You have to buy gifts for everything. They turn it into distractions and things for people to get excited about and look forward to, that distract them from the real things that are going on in the world, right? For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh Shai to the pulling down of the strongholds. And the strongholds are their doctrine, right? Their philosophies, all the things that they're always teaching in this world, right? That is their strongholds that we're pulling down here, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, which again is their prophecy, their philosophies and all the things that they're pushing, right? That is that that woman in that red dress riding the dragon, and with their cup of strong wine, right? It's all knowledge against Yahweh. Everything that these wicked people push is the opposite of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. It's a complete opposite, right? Everything is backwards. And bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahweh Shai. Right, so we're focusing our mind on Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Right, we're focusing on doctrine. We're making sure we're aware of the lies and philosophies and false religions and the pride of Esau's system. We're making sure we're going against those things and focusing our mind on the pure, the spiritual things. Right. I'm going to dive into Ephesians 6 and 12 here. For again, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Right, we're not we're focused on the spiritual before. So verse 12 here, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in the high places. So that's exactly what I was just talking about. Right, and this is why Esau is in rulership right now. They're temporarily in rulership right now, but they're the ones that are in high places right now. Again, going against Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Everything that they do is backwards. Right, the elite that's in rulership right now, there's like the spiritual things that they do as well. That's why a lot of these holidays are related to rituals, right? And they have other rituals that they do. They always say what they're going to do before they do it, and they follow through with that, right? All these rituals that they push, the hand signs that they do on TV, the sacrifices that they perform as well, right? So it's all against what Yahweh Shai and Yahweh is about. All into carnal things and they're into spiritual things on the left hand side, but we focus on spiritual things on the right hand side, and we don't get distracted by the physical things that are always going about. We don't pull out guns and try to shoot up Esau and things like that, right? We don't pull out a gun and try to shoot someone that's against the scriptures, because that's not lawful in today's time. Right? A lot of the things that would be lawful according to the scriptures, in today's time, you got to use your wits. All things are lawful, but not expedient today. All right. I'll dive into Colossians here. Colossians 3 and 1. If ye then be risen with Yahweh Shai, seek those things which are above, where Yahweh Shai sitteth on the right hand of Yahweh. So again, we're seeking the spiritual things, right? Not just focus on vain things here. not just focus on money, status, politics, fame, comfort. Again, hey, money is a defense. Like if you need money to live, but you make sure you have a balance here where you still focus on your spiritual growth. You're maybe making some videos or you're studying videos, whatever it may be, right? So you make sure you're mentally separated from Babylon. You're not in Babylon mentally. Right? Our mind is focused on the kingdom. Right? Our mind is focused on the last days, on the prophecies coming through. Right? The mark of the beast. The third woe, and then being beamed up. That's where our mind is focused on. Focus on those things. So set your affection on the things above, not on the things on earth. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Yahushai in power, our power, right? So we keep our mind focusing on those things. And hey, we're always looking for signs for those things as well, right? We're always looking for signs because that's what's going to tell us what's going on. Like, the thing that happened with Trump and Venezuela just recently. Right, that's a sign that we're getting closer and closer to these end times. He ran up in Venezuela and he took the dictator out. He just went and took him, bombed the place, took the dictator of Venezuela and his wife. Yeah, man, he's done. War is around the corner, man. The third war is around the corner. These are again signs. Luke 21:28, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. That's why we get excited when these things happen. Hey, people dying and stuff isn't necessarily a good thing, but at the same time we get excited because we know it's through Yahweh B'Shem Shai that these things went down and are going down, right? We look at these signs because we know that again our redemption is drawing nigh, and the hopeful elect are watchmen as well. This is why a lot of the elect, they'll make videos on what's going down, signs to look for, wars, things that's going on around the world, earthquakes, economic collapse, prophetic markers that's showing, that's leading us towards the third woe and the mark of the beast, right? We look at those things and relate it to the hopeful elect's redemption. And I say our as hope, as I'm one of the hopeful elect, but as we relate to our redemption, that's why you have to be wary of these false prophets that's apparently teach, but their knowledge comes from nowhere. The knowledge leads to nowhere. Quick precept here. I have it on the side here. I want to pull it up. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 37:19. There is one that is wise and teacheth many, and yet unprofitable to himself. I saw a lot that's these false prophets, right? They apparently teach many, but they're not profitable. What they're teaching is not profitable. You learn nothing from what they teach. Again, these other camps that teach that white woman is that the white woman is the mark of the beast and all this foolishness, right? And that your woman has to be in the truth and stuff that doesn't align with the actual scriptures and is not profitable in any sense to our spirit. Because again, we're not focused on these vain things. We're focused on the spiritual, and they are not. That's why things that they say just don't. It leads to nothing. Leads to nowhere. You don't learn anything from what they are apparently teaching. I want to bring up another precept here, Matthew 24 and 24. Bear with me for a second here. There you go. Then, I'll start at 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Yahushai, or there, believe it not, for there shall arise false Yahushais and false prophets. Right, and with how things are going now, Project Bluebeam, how AI is going now, there's for sure going to be false Yahushais that look real, holograms, whatever they do to whatever way they bring it out. There's going to be ones that look real. Well, but the hopeful elect won't be deceived though, and it says that here, right? But they're all false prophets as well. Just like I think it was this summer. Where the so-called Christians, I forgot where they were, but they believed that they're going to be beamed up. So they all left their things behind and went into the forest. I think it was the forest, and they were waiting to be beamed up, and it didn't happen. Like, that's a false prophet. Like, what do you do at that point? It's hilarious, man. They're just idiots. They didn't even look at the signs. The mark of the beast didn't pop up yet. How are we going to be beamed up? The third woe didn't come through yet. This is why the prophecies are important. So, for there shall arise false Yahushais and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Again, if it were possible. That's how realistic it's going to be. That's how realistic it's going to look. If it were possible, it would deceive the very elect. That means that the people that are, that are vain, that are in the world, they're going to be deceived. Because if it looks so real that it would deceive the elect, that means that they might actually get the hair right, they might get the skin tone right, they might get the tone of the voice right, fiery eyes, all the things. They might get how it looks right, because the knowledge is out there, man. This wicked elite knows how he's supposed to look. They might, so a lot of these people are going to be deceived, but the elect won't be deceived. And this is why, you have to have the right people in rulership to teach you what to look out for. All right, this is why the hopeful elect is through, and the prophets are here teaching you what to look out for. And this is why in the kingdom you're going to have righteous rulers as well, so that people don't go off, so that they don't go down the wrong road. They're not spewing foolishness. They're not teaching you, they're not teaching you things that are on the left hand side as well. In the kingdom, none of this is just going to be here. None of this stuff that's around today is going to be here. It's going to be righteous prophets, right? And the truth is going to be in our mind. They're going to make sure that the heathen learn the truth as well. Make sure they follow it. And I'm going to relate that to Revelation 2:26. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him I will give power over the nations. Right. So again, the heathen are going to be directed through the hopeful elect on how to properly follow the scriptures. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, and even as I receive of my Father. Right. So literal rulership, like in the hopeful elect, are going to be rulership. There's going to be law, there's going to be order, there's going to be correction. These heathen will be governed in righteousness, right? So they're not going to be going off. Right. So, and these elites are the ones that's going to get it the worst. But hey, man, all the heathen are going to understand how to properly follow the laws of the scriptures. I'm not going to be going off. We won't let them go off, man. If they try to go off and do this foolishness, they're going to be destroyed, or they're going to receive some kind of punishment. But they're going to understand that, because the hopeful elect are going to have powers, right? So they're going righteous rulership is needed for those things to go down. To dive into Isaiah 2:2, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all the nations shall flow onto it. All right, so in the last days, the hopeful elect to be ruling from in Israel, in Jerusalem. I'll dive into verse 3 here. And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh. So that the mountain, I believe that's going into the rulership. Again, that's going into the rulership of the hopeful elect of Yahweh, to the house of our power of Jacob. And Jacob, the tribe of Jacob, dive into all of Israel. And he'll teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, right? And the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. So the heathens will learn the proper understanding of the scriptures and the laws and how to follow it. So will everyone that's, everyone in the world, because the hopeful elect is going to be rulership. Yahweh Shai is going to be in rulership and come down. All the nations will be taught the statutes and judgments, and Israel will be restored as the governing priesthood, right? And last but not least, I want to dive into Psalm 149 and 7. To execute vengeance upon the heathen. So again, the heathen they're gonna get their just deserts. These elites, these families that put our people through slavery, that are currently destroying certain that are currently destroying neighborhoods, putting crack in the neighborhoods, that are currently doing wickedness upon this earth. Their bloodline is gonna pay, right? Going to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and to punish them upon the people, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints, praise ye Yahweh. So the people that are in power right now, the so-called elites, when Yahweh Shai returns, they're not gonna be destroyed yet. They're gonna be in their bunkers. That's why they're putting all this money in their bunkers. But these elites are going to be brought low. They're going to be put in chains. They're going to be put in slavery, just like they put people today in slavery. They put even their own people in slavery, man. These people are detestable, right? So Judgment is honor and is given to the saints. Judgment and honor is given to the saints. All these things are gonna come about. But this is why proper rulership is very important, and listening to the right prophets are important as well, right? But again, our warfare is spiritual, not vain. So hopefully you found this edifying. And again, I want to say Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors unto, again, the apostles, the hopeful elect, and the prophets for pushing this truth and sincerity. And Shalom to the brothers and sisters that may be tuning in.